Breaking news. I'm in love. You see, over the weekend, I met the most intoxicating young woman on Twitter. Her name is Amazon FC. Real person. Tell me, Tony, have you ever heard a more beautiful name? What? Of course she's real. What are you talking about? I mean, it says it right in her profile. That doesn't get more real than that, Tony. Give me a second, folks. Sorry about that, folks. I have some truly terrible news. It appears that, despite all evidence to the contrary, that my beloved Amazon FC real person was actually a corporate catfish. But at least I'm not the only one. You see, apparently there have been Twitter accounts going around pretending to be Amazon employees and attacking unions. Although I may have been the only one to develop a romantic relationship with one of these accounts. But I suppose it is better to have loved and lost to a bot than never to have loved a bot at all. Now, Amazon denies that they're the ones behind the bot accounts, but there's been a lot of funky stuff going on with Amazon lately, and in specific with the union drive down in Bessemer, Alabama to unionize the Amazon warehouse there. So that's what we'll be taking a look at tonight. This is Politically Explained. With me, Cronker Walker. You know, Tony, I think the thing I'll miss the most about Amazon FC real person was how she was always so adamant that Amazon employees definitely do not have to pee in bottles, you know? It was just one of her cute little quirks, I suppose. What? Oh crap, we're filming. Sorry about that, folks. I suppose you heard all that, but it turns out that it's not just my ex-Amazon FC real person who's very adamant that Amazon employees definitely do not pee in bottles. You see, Amazon's own official news Twitter account was also very adamant that Amazon employees definitely, 100% certainly, do not pee in bottles. Unfortunately, just like my beloved ex-Amazon FC real person, the Amazon news Twitter account is also apparently full of shit. You see, not only have many Amazon employees testified to having to pee in bottles, but also leaked memos have shown that Amazon management is aware of the problem, and that it's not just pee. As one Amazon driving memo put it, driving associates cannot, must not, return bags to the station with poop inside. And if you're thinking, well, who amongst us hasn't pooped in a bag at work at a very special emergency? Well, I'm right there with you. I've done it myself. But apparently it happens somewhat frequently at Amazon. As the memo also states, this is the third occasion in the last 2 months when bags have been returned to the station with poop inside. And apparently these Amazon employees aren't just pooing and peeing in bags because they lost a bet to Tony, although that is why I did it. No, apparently they're doing it because they have no choice. You see, as one former Amazon employee puts it, the practice happens because we are literally implicitly forced to do so. Otherwise, we will end up losing our jobs for too many undelivered packages. And according to documents obtained by The Verge, Amazon even has an automated system to keep track of their workers' productivity levels. And that system can generate warnings or even firings without any human input whatsoever. And the system supposedly even monitors any breaks you take, including bathroom breaks. And it gives you a warning if you take too long to get back to work. And in at least one warehouse, Amazon fired approximately 10% of its workforce in a single year for failing to meet productivity quotas. So it sounds like Amazon has little robots that look over your shoulder and keep you working at such a pace that you might have to literally pee in a bottle just not to get fired. Wait a minute, Tony, isn't that the plot of the sci-fi novel you were working on? Oh, really? Apparently that was the script for today's episode. I guess when he told me about it, I just assumed it was a dystopian sci-fi novel. And in fairness, Amazon issued a rare public letter recently, where they apologized for not getting it totally accurate on the whole pissing in bottles thing. And they said of the pee bottle problem, we would like to solve it. We don't yet know how, but we will look for solutions. I don't get it then. Why doesn't Amazon just reduce the workload of their employees? What? Oh, apparently my cameraman Tony thinks it might be because that might eat away at their profits by like 1/1,000,000 of a percentage point. So I guess people will just have to keep peeing and pooping themselves. I mean, you can't let a little thing like basic human dignity get in the way of those sweet, sweet profits, you know? Wait a minute, Tony. There's a little voice inside my head telling me that's wrong. What's that about? Oh, really? Apparently that's my conscience. Who knew? I guess Amazon doesn't have one. But luckily, there are some employees down in Bessemer, Alabama who are trying to get Amazon to have a bit of a conscience. Apparently, the conscience of a corporation is actually called a union. Who knew? They're the ones that stop companies from being able to treat their employees like total dog shit. You see, by organizing, workers actually have more power to demand their rights, and have more leverage to make it so that more of the profits go to the workers, who do most of the work. I guess that's why they're called workers. I never really thought about it. Instead of shithead executives who think it's okay to overwork people to the point that they're peeing in bottles and shitting in baggies. According to the Economic Policy Institute, unions actually lead to a 20% increase in pay, as well as better benefits and working conditions. Benefits like pensions and paternal leave and vacation days and sick days. Holy cow, that's a lot of perks. I guess unions actually are good. Now, despite all this, Amazon seems to think that unions don't really do anything. We know this because Amazon sent down a letter to their Bessemer, Alabama employees telling them that unions don't really do anything except for take your money. Which you would think would make Amazon pretty neutral on the whole union issue, since they think that it has no effect. But for some reason, Amazon seems to be putting in a humongous amount of effort to stop their workers from unionizing. Like hiring union avoidance consultants, or, in the case of Whole Foods, which they own, allegedly setting up heat maps to track stores that they think are at risk of unionizing. And Amazon even asked the government to try to ban mail-in voting for the Bessemer, Alabama union drive, even though we're in the middle of a pandemic. And Amazon's new CEO, Dave Clark, even attacked Senator Bernie Sanders on Twitter after the senator had voiced his support for union organizers down in Bessemer, Alabama. Now, the tweet was actually such a dickhead move that Amazon's own security team thought that the account must have been hacked. But no, it actually turns out that Amazon's CEO really is just that much of a dickhead. However, it may not have been his fault. You see, there are reports that the real brains behind the Twitter beef was actually former Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, who supposedly was urging Amazon to play hardball with its critics. A billionaire who would try to ban mail-in voting because it might make them lose an election, and then goes on deranged, hyper-aggressive Twitter rants against their critics. You know who this reminds me of, Tony? Oh, I was actually going to say Mr. Clean because they're both bald, but no, I guess you're right. He is kind of like the Cheeto guy. Also, if you're liking the episode, maybe consider liking, subscribing, or leaving a comment. But I suppose the real lesson in all of this is that maybe I should give Amazon FC Real Person another chance, you know? What? Oh, no, apparently that's not it, and I'm being told in the strongest of all possible language to definitely not do that. No, apparently I'm being told that actually the real lesson is that corporations often exploit their workers in order for companies to maximize profits for a small group of shareholders and executives, and that unions are actually a great way of balancing out corporate power so that workers can have their voices heard too. And that corporations will go to extreme lengths to try to stop workers from unionizing because they don't want to share that power with workers. Now, the voting in Bessemer, Alabama is actually over now, and we won't know the results for a few more days. But regardless of what happens, we can all do our part by helping fight against anti-union myths which have been propagated by politicians and corporations for well over a century now. And if you think this video helped combat those myths and show the importance of unions, maybe share it with your friends. Alright folks, well that's the end of the episode. You know, even with a broken heart, I still managed to totally nail this one. I really am amazing. And you know, Tony, I'm starting to feel a whole bit better about the whole Amazon FC Real Person thing. You know, I think I can really do better than her. In fact, I've kind of been flirting with a Nigerian princess over email recently. And you want to know the crazy thing? We actually have the same social security number. I mean, talk about fate, right?